Hello friends and welcome to the Makeup Obsession YouTube channel. My name is Heather and today I'm going to show you how I went from this to this. Bronze, glowy, rather glamorous look. And today I'm showing you the brand spanking new Throw Shade contour palette. It is a 9-pan contour and highlight palette. We've got 6 matte shades in warm and cool tones for various different skin tones and 3 highlights that will also complement different skin tones. It's £10, so that's just over £1 a shade. It's even got a mirror. Wow, look at that. And we're being smart consumers in this video because I used this one palette for my eyes, for my contour, for my bronze, for my highlight. So if you want to see how I did it, then you know what to do. You gotta stay tuned. Okay, so first I'm going to start with my eyes and I'm going to use my Mega Conceal as an eye primer. Dabbing a little bit on, taking that all the way up to my eyebrows. I'm gonna use the Throw Shade palette on my eyes as well as my face, so it'll all be kind of monochromatic. So first I'm taking the shade Burn. I'm working that pretty much over my entire lid and crease. This one is very close to my skin tone, just a bit cooler and more neutral, so it should create a nice natural shadow. Next I'm going to take the shade Respect, just a little bit deeper, and work that a bit closer to my crease. Because these are contour shades, they're very, very blendable, which is nice when you want to create a very soft eye look. Next I'm taking the shade Power, which is the deepest contour shade in this palette, and I'm taking that on a little brush to start creating a more structured outer V, which will lift the eye a little bit, without having to do the whole winged liner, which can just be a little bit stressful at times. Once I've created that shape, I'm also taking it through the crease a little bit as well. Also connecting into the lash line to give you that impression of a winged liner. And I'll just quickly go back into Respect, just to make sure there are no harsh lines at the top there. Okay, and now on the lid, I think I am going to add a little bit of shimmer. And I'm going to take the shade Attitude, which is this golden highlighter shade. I'm going to spray the shadow with Fit Fix as well, just so it can be as shimmery as possible, leaving everything nice and soft. You just can't go wrong with a warm bronzy golden eye. Just redefining that crease line where the gold went over it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit more of that shade Power and just stamp it along on an angled brush, and then taking the shade Power again, pop that on the inner and outer third of my lower lash line, connecting it up with that winged shape. I like adding it onto my lower lash line at the inner corner as well, because it kind of extends the eye, makes it look a little bit bigger. And then we're going to pack a spot more of that Attitude shade onto the centre. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly do my mascara and lashes off camera, and I'll be back in a second. And now it's time for brows. Just going to brush the hairs through. It's a little spoolie on the Brow Goals pencil, but I am going to use the pomade. Probably going to use a couple of shades so I can really build up the texture. But first I'm going to start with the shade Light Brown. Taking a little bit onto a nice thin angled brush. Then I'm going to smooth it out onto the back of my hand, taking off the excess product. And I'm going to draw some little hair strokes. And I'm following the direction of the hairs now that they've been brushed up, extending the brow. Okay, now I'm taking the medium brown, quite a bit darker and a lot more cool toned. I'm just going to add just a few strokes with this one, particularly into the arch of my brow where I need to build up the shade quite a bit. Okay, now I'm going to zoom you out and move on to the skin. First I'm going to prime my skin with the All a Blur blurring primer. This one is nice because it is a little bit of a pore filling and blurring primer, but mostly it's just hydrating, which is what I like. I want my skin to look really healthy and glowy and hydrated. So now that's down, I'm just going to pop on my foundation. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my Mega Conceal concealer in the shade 05. Pop that underneath my eyes. Because this is a little bit lighter than my skin tone, I can also do a little bit of highlighting with it, just buffing that into the skin. I've been using this concealer for months now and I really like how light and comfortable it is on the skin, so you can wear it for a good long while without it cracking and creasing and crumbling. Okay, and now we've got all that in place, I'm going to set it using the Pure Bake Transparent Setting Powder. It is described as a baking powder, but I'm just going to be using it as a normal light setting powder, mostly focusing it underneath the eyes, around my nostrils, and then everywhere else I'm going to very, very lightly set. Now I'm going to go back into the Throw Shade palette. I'm first going to go back into the shade Burn to start really shaping out my face, and then I can go in with some deeper tones to bronze it up a bit as well. First working that into the back of the cheekbone, and it looks quite light in the pan. It actually really does add quite a lot of shape to the face, but because it is so fair, you can work it up quite gradually. So also taking it underneath my jaw, into the temples as well. And it's also kind of going to act as a transition shade, so the deeper contour and bronze shades that I put on top should blend really nice and easily. Next I'm going to take a mixture of Sting and Respect. This one is a lot more bronze and this one is more of a cool contour shade, and together I think they will create a nice bronzy contour. And because it is a bit more bronzy, I'm applying this a little bit higher onto my cheeks where the sun would hit my face, but keeping it more focused towards the back and the perimeter of the face than I did with that first shade. Something I've been doing recently as well, once I've got my bronze down, I've noticed that I get a lot of freckles on the very tops of my cheekbones, like where your highlight would be. So I started bronzing a little bit there as well, almost underneath my eye. And I think it creates a really natural, very all over bronzy look. Again, a little bit over the nose. Just a mixture of those 3 shades. Kind of customize the color that you want. And maybe, just for fun, I'll also take a little bit of Fire, which is quite deep, but these shades are so blendable that I'm not too scared of it. I'm just gonna apply that onto the very deepest point, create a little bit more depth. Just to add a little tiny bit of flush, I'm taking the Pinky Promise blush palette and the shade Secret, which is very close to a bronzer shade, but just has a hint of peach to it. I'm applying that onto my cheeks, just a little bit over my nose, just to give it that kind of just out of the sun flush. And then for a highlight, I'm taking Sassy and run that on the high points of the face. Quite a creamy colour, so it just looks like a natural highlight on the skin, really. Popping that onto my cheekbones, and I really like to take it onto my temple as well, so when the head turns, the highlight kind of keeps moving around the face. The bridge of the nose, and then also taking a bit of that highlighter on the brow bone and onto the inner corner of the eye, just quite softly, so it's all connected up. Just add on a bit of a brown toned lipstick, and that's the look nearly done. But what is a sun-kissed, summery makeup look without some nice freckles? And now that my real ones are hidden, we're gonna have to fake them. So I shall show you my current favorite method. First, grab a color that is quite near in color to your natural freckles if you have some. I'm going to use the light brown shade here, and then I'm going to use a mixing medium. Any mixing medium will do. I added a little dot into the lid of my brow pomade, grabbing a bit of the pomade, and I'm mixing it into a slightly runnier liquid. Make some semi-uneven dots onto the end of my finger, and then use that as a little stamp on my face. And if any are too dark, stamp over them again. And the more uneven the shapes are, the more realistic it will look. Honestly, the less precise you are with this, the better. Because they are a pomade, they will set in place, but I like to add a little layer of setting spray anyway, so I'm gonna add the Fit Fix. Okay, so this is the finished look. We're glowy, we're summery, we're bronzed. Once again, thank you so much to Makeup Session for allowing me to show you this lovely palette. I really enjoyed using it. I thought it was very versatile, and I really enjoyed the range of shades in it. Got warmer tones, cooler tones. This could easily be your everything palette. Boom. Let me know what you thought of the look. Let me know if you'll be picking up the palette. And yeah, that's it. Have a wonderful day, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.